Welcome back. As a teacher, you work hard to plan, execute, and refine your instruction. Students need the same opportunity to refine their learning and application of skills. Effective feedback is a great way to provide that opportunity. Effective feedback provides the guidance needed for students to improve. Let's take a look at some of the means and ways of providing effective feedback. Welcome. So let's jump right into our continuation of the grading series, providing effective feedback. So we're going to have an overview and a purpose, look at some key traits and strategies, look at the benefits and examples, and then close out with some keys to remember. So what is effective feedback? It is not a finite situation. It is an opportunity to allow students to see where they went right, where they went wrong, and how they can improve on where they went wrong. So the feedback should lead to another opportunity to either revise or, attempt in another manner the same skill set to improve on it. So it should be timely, it should be specific, goal-oriented, it should be actionable, it should be something that students can improve on. Like we said, it shouldn't limit their ability to take action, and it should be focused on growth. So the purpose of effective feedback, it helps close learning gaps, reinforces learning targets, encourages reflection, improves academic performance, and supports students' motivation. These last two, the improvement on the performance, again, by providing the feedback, we want to give them another opportunity to apply the feedback. It's no good to say, oh, next time you should do this, and there is no next time. They should have an opportunity to improve their performance. And by improving on that performance, taking the feedback you give them, applying it on the next activity, it should in turn improve their motivation. So what are some key traits of effective feedback? It is specific. It's not general, oh, that was great. No. And we're going to get into some specifics in a second. It should be timely. It should be constructive. It should be clear. It should be actionable, encouraging, based on the standard, and supportive. So again, even in these key traits, you see the balance between the art of teaching, the constructive, the supportive, the encouraging, as well as the science of teaching, right? Specific, constructive, actionable, standards-based. So you see the balance between the art of teaching as well as the science of teaching combined in the feedback process. So again, there is a difference between feedback and praise. So feedback, look at the example. Your evidence supports your argument. It's specific, it's clear, it's targeted, it's standards-based, right? It's specific, it encourages revision, right? Praise, good job, it's general. It ends the conversation. There's nothing, oh, good job. Okay, what did I do a good job on? Oh, it was just a good job. It ends the conversation. So we want to make sure that we're giving feedback more so than praise, because the feedback allows for that growth. The praise ends the conversation. It's like, oh, well, that's all. No, we want to give them the opportunity to improve on their skill sets. So what are some considerations for teachers when providing feedback? You want to understand the student. Again, it goes back to knowing and understanding your students, their age and maturity. What type of feedback can they handle? What type of feedback can they comprehend? You want to consider learning differences. So your feedback, the student may be, let's say, at a 1 level, which is the lowest, but they have the opportunity to move up to a 3 level. Their learning difference plays a role in understanding how they can improve, right? Just because they're not at a 5 doesn't mean that they didn't grow. They can go from a 1 to a 3. That feedback can encourage them to go from the 1 to the 3, thus increasing their motivation, thus moving forward, possibly going from a 3 to a 5 on the next activity. The emotional impact. You want to understand who you're dealing with. Some students, you may need to give the feedback in person, Why? So they can feel and understand that, it's genuinely concern and care, excuse me. Sometimes in written feedback, you don't get the tone right and it can throw them off. So you want to understand the emotional impact. Cultural responsiveness, balance strengths and growth areas. This is something that personally I struggled with when I was giving feedback for like essays and things. I would focus on only the areas that they need to grow. I never focused on the strengths. And it took me a while to balance that out, right? And then you want to consider any biases. So, strategies for effective feedback. What do I do? How do I give effective feedback? Use rubrics. Rubrics are a objective way to provide feedback. It's clear, it's concise, it's clear cut. Students know in advance what is expected of them. They know how they're going to be measured. Conduct student conferences. Whether it's 1-on-3, 1-on-1, conduct student conferences so you can provide that feedback. Some students need to just sit down with you and walk through the process. Okay, how did I go wrong here? You have a comment here, but I don't understand that. And you can provide that explanation. Use peer or self-assessment feedback. Peer-to-peer feedback, sometimes they hear it better from their peers than they do from you. And then they can self-assess and offer revision opportunities. Here's where we've removed that finite purpose of feedback. We've removed that by offering opportunities for them to revise and use the feedback in order to improve. So some of the different feedback frameworks, we'll go through a couple. Tag, tell, ask, and give. So you tell specific positive comments, what they did well. You pose or you ask questions, encouraging them to reflect and improve. And then you give specific actionable suggestions for improvement. That's the tag framework. Pretty simplistic, but effective. Another one is glow and grows. You tell them what the strengths of their assignment was. You tell them where their areas for improvement are. And then you give them a specific goal set. Okay, by the next time we do this activity, you should be able to do this, this, and this. The last one will introduce what went well and even better if. So you tell them what went well, and then you have them consider what to do next time in order to increase in the areas of weakness. So some additional ones here, we have the SBI, situation-based impact, Pendleton's rule or model for feedback, the feedback sandwich, ARC guidance model, R2C2 model, Alebo model, and all of these I'm not going to go through. However, pause the video, do your own research, see which feedback model fits your personality, fits your instruction style. Play around with them, try different ones. Okay, there's no set way to give feedback. That's why you have all these different models. See what works best for you and your students. So what are the benefits for the teachers? You monitor understanding by giving effective feedback. You can identify misconceptions. You improve your instructional decisions because you're looking at student strengths and weaknesses. Say all the students on this assignment had the same weakness. Well, that likely falls back on you as the teacher, believe it or not. And you may want to correctively instruct, and increases student engagement. If I feel like if I turn in an assignment as a student and there's no chance to revise it, then why do I care? Okay? If that's the final say so, and you're not going to provide me any feedback, or the feedback you provide me doesn't give me an opportunity to revise, then why do I care about your feedback? Because I'm not going to get a chance to do anything with it. So by giving effective feedback and the opportunities for correction, you increase student engagement. So what are the student benefits? You improve academic skills because they're applying the feedback. You increase motivation. I have a chance to grow. You develop the growth mindset because, this is not, my final product is not my final product. I can improve on it. And you gain confidence because the students gain confidence because they understand that, hey, yes, I made some mistakes, but I have an opportunity to fix those mistakes. The overall school benefits: you have improved academic performance, better classroom culture, and stronger teacher-student relationships. So the impact on achievement overall: it accelerates student growth. They're understanding where they have their weaknesses and where they have their strengths, and they can improve on it. It improves retention of information and enhances mastery of standards. You're giving them multiple opportunities and feedback at each turn in order to improve. So some reading feedback examples. I'm not going to go through all of these. I would encourage you to pause, take a look. I'm going to show you the reading feedback, the math feedback, some different examples. But you can see here how the examples, you can use these example stems in order to, depending on which model you pick from earlier, you can combine some of these reading example stems in your feedback. So we have on the left, we have feedback examples, and then the positive ones, and then we have constructive ones where you can highlight the need for improvement. So we have the reading examples. Like I said, it's advantageous to just pause, take a look. That one works for me. I might jot it down or what have you. Here are writing feedback examples. Again, you can pause, take a look, see which ones resonate with you. And then math feedback examples. So also, this day and age, it's always good to have a little help, right? So different platforms you can use for feedback tools: Google Classroom, Canvas, Kami, Nearpod, Kahoot, and Flip, formerly Flipgrid. Each one of those has a mechanism in which you can provide feedback to students. So it breaks up the means of providing feedback for students. Sometimes, like we said, we can do a one-on-one conference in person. We can do peer-to-peer. We can also use these technology tools to provide that feedback electronically. So what are some common mistakes when it comes to feedback? Giving feedback too late, right? My hand is raised because I've done this. If you've been teaching long enough, you've given late feedback. It is what it is, right? But the goal is to improve and shorten that time period between feedback. I used to give essays. Let's say I gave it, today is a Monday. I gave the essay on Monday. It's due on Friday. Okay, right? I collected on Friday. It would take me a while to go through all those papers, right? I have to find a better way. I had to find a better way to increase that turnaround time, because then during that time, I may be assigning a new essay. And if they don't have the feedback from the other one, then what are we doing here, right? So I had to stop, become self-aware, and make adjustments to make sure that the feedback was timely and that they had the opportunity before the next assignment in order to apply that feedback. Being too vague, focusing only on weaknesses, and then using feedback as punishment. That's one of the worst, because it's like the feedback should encourage improvement, not be a punishment. It shouldn't be punitive, okay? A student shouldn't be looking at feedback as, oh, this is a punishment. They should be looking at it as a learning opportunity and a growth mindset. And the way they change that perspective is how we present it to them. So some keys to remember: feedback should improve learning. It should be specific and is more powerful than praise, right? We don't want to just praise the students and ignore, possible areas of weakness, okay? Students need opportunities to apply the feedback, okay? It's not just enough to give feedback. Give me an opportunity as a student to improve and use the feedback that you're giving me. Otherwise, the teacher's wasted their time giving feedback and the student has wasted time, reading the feedback, if there's not an opportunity to improve. So final reflection: from the business advisor, Robert Allen, or business author, Robert Allen. There is no failure, only feedback, right? So if I get effective feedback and I can apply it, I'm in good shape. So the question for you to think about, a couple of questions. How often do I give feedback as a teacher? How can I make feedback more student-centered? And is my feedback actionable and specific? Okay, just some things for you to consider moving forward when it comes to providing feedback for your students. We hope that was helpful. Remember, effective feedback allows students to take ownership of their learning. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.